First order of business will be citizens' time. I have one person who has signed up and another person who has asked that his name be taken off. And Jerry, did you decide whether you want to speak?
Yes.
Okay. We must have another one of these sheets. Did you sign?
Yes, I sure did, Danny.
Okay. Well, I'll give you your opportunity.
Okay.
In fact, Jerry, if you want to come forward, because I do know you signed.
Okay.
One. Jerry, identify yourself and address for the record, please.
My name is Jerry Spraker, Beef County Farmer over in the Crook Creek area. I'm the past president of Wood County Farm Bureau. I'm the current vice president of Wood County Farm Bureau. Mr. Chairman, gentlemen, lady, I'm here tonight just to talk to you a little bit about what they're trying to do with the Crooked Trail. This Crooked Trail is a great thing that they're working on. It promotes the heritage, Southwest Virginia, and the music. Wood County Farm Bureau disagrees with the way they're trying to do it. Wood County Farm Bureau passed a resolution that we are against the Crooked Trail and making 19 counties a National Heritage Area. That resolution passed at a resolution committee meeting on the 1st of November, and it passed at the end of November at our annual convention. A letter has been written to our congressmen and senators, Warner, elect Kane, and Griffin. This letter basically expresses our displeasure with what they're doing. To put 19 counties into a National Heritage Area means that the Park Service will be in control of their property. And they will tell you, and they're right, there's nothing to do with taking property or losing property rights. But what happens over a period of time, in this letter you'll read, and I'm going to read it here in a minute, the unintended consequences happen when grant money, when money's offered, zoning gets changed, ordinances get put in place, get changed, and it affects property rights for the people in that designated area. This letter was sent by the president of Virginia Farm Bureau to the senators and congressmen. We also have a senatorial meeting Thursday. We also want to make our legislators in the state aware of what's going on. The group that's doing this, they're doing a fine job of promoting this Crooked Road Trail. But it's an unelected group of people. We don't have any say-so who's in charge. You don't have a vote in it. I don't. Nobody has a vote in it. And they're a good group of people, what they're trying to do, but that can change over time. I'd like to hand you this letter. I'd like to point out also that once we get into this National Heritage Area, we're in it forever. And I looked up forever in the dictionary, and it said it's a long time. I'll give each one of this letter, and I'd like to read it also.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes.
Take much more time. This letter is from the president, Wayne Pryor, Virginia Farm Bureau. We're also going to take this letter and this information to other counties and other county governments and our legislators in the affected areas. I am writing to express Virginia Farm Bureau's concerns regarding the Crooked Road Trail's designation as a National Heritage Area. The current plans for a 300-mile heritage corridor will affect at least 19 counties in Southwest Virginia. While promises of economic development and tourism may seem like a good enough reason to allow this designation, the project could hinder the private property rights of landowners throughout Southwest Virginia. For this reason, in addition to the unintended consequences, and remember that word, unintended consequences, the management plan may have on local government, Virginia Farm Bureau opposes the National Heritage Area designation for the Crooked Road Trail. On the surface, most legislation designating a National Heritage Area and a subsequent management plan that guide them, include specific provisions prohibiting federal entities from using eminent domain to acquire property. It also usually prohibits the use of federal funds to acquire property by the way of voluntary transactions. Nonetheless, these designations may pose a threat to private property rights. The exercise of restrictive zonings severely limits the extent to which property owners can develop or use the property. These zoning abuses, without a specific consent of local governments in the NRA, could restrict farmers, landowners from freely making decisions from their businesses or homes without direct input at public hearings. There have been numerous examples in the National Heritage Area designations across the country where the National Park Service encourages participating local governments to adopt land use practices to accommodate the project. By using funds as leverage, let me say that again, by using funds as leverage, this may lead to an unfair influence of local governments to favor the project instead of the local landowners in developing regulations. We do not think it will benefit Virginia farmers if the federal government becomes more involved in funding select local economic development incentives at the expense of taxpayers and other needed expenditures at the local level, such as schools. Agriculture remains the #1 industry in the Crooked Road area. We encourage opportunities to bring tourism and business to the region. That only helps our business. Crooked Road and the emphasis it placed on historical music culture in Southwest Virginia has been a success. However, we believe it should remain in its current status and not receive an official National Heritage Area designation. Please support Virginia farmers and landowners and do what you can do to stop this attack on private property rights. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ms. Myers?
Good evening, gentlemen. I would just like to applaud the Farm Bureau on behalf of Wood County landowners for that resolution. They've done a really, really good job informing people. I'm concerned about the upcoming budget process, and I'm concerned about salary padding, using unused sick days and so on by retirees. And I'm not talking about anybody in general, but I was wondering if we have a resolution, or you guys could do a resolution to make it mandatory that all employees use their sick and vacation days and not use them to pad their retirement, since retirement is based on their last salary. And if they ask to be compensated instead of using up those days, their retirement can really shoot up, and there's been plenty of abuses of that happening and has happened in the past. I was wondering if there was anything coming down the pipe for cell phone service in Speedwell area, because it doesn't happen there. And are there any towers in the works? Does anybody know of anything happening, or could you gentlemen push for the safety and for the users of cell phones in our area? It would be great if we had a tower or whatever is necessary to make it happen over there.
Someone asked me if I'd heard that some land had been leased or sold on Stroop Mountain for a tower, but I don't have any idea. That was just somebody asked me that they had heard. But
is there any way that the county can send a letter to Verizon or whomever the big plan people are in our area, asking that it be looked into as a possibility in the future? Could that happen?
It's for profit. Those companies are for profit. They have to
Right, exactly. And we have property that could be developed for profit out there. Why not? It would be a good thing for all in the area. Another issue, while I was sitting and waiting for this, how about for school funding? If you guys ditch the IDA, the Joint Industrial Development Agency, and do it in-house with a PR person and administration, could you save approximately $450,000 a year and use that to do the schools? How about it? That would be nice.
I haven't even looked into that.
Okay, well, it's a possibility to save some money, and it might help in the long run. You never know. Because the way the economy is and so on, and everything is a little bit flat right now, that might work, and if it would save over $400,000 a year that you could apply towards the school renovations, that would be a very good thing for Wood County. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's everyone that we had sign up. I know there was have to be two forms of first. Ray had one signed and Myers on another. Is anyone else that signed up? I didn't get the second one. Okay, thank you. I'll close citizens. Our next meeting is at 7:05, which we have passed, would be for a public hearing for the motor vehicle and trailer license ordinance. Give me a second to pull that up. In compliance with the Code of Virginia and amendments thereto, the Wood County Board of Supervisors will conduct a public hearing to consider ordinance 2012-4 entitled Motor Vehicle and Trailer License Ordinance of Wood County, Virginia. The Board of Supervisors will hear comments from citizens concerning the proposed ordinance. The public hearing will be held Tuesday, December 11th, 2012 at 7:05 p.m. in the boardroom of the Wood County Office Building at 340 South 6th Street, Woodville, Virginia. A copy of the proposed ordinance is on file at the public review of the County Administrator's Office located at 340 South 6th Street, Woodville, Virginia, or online at www.withco.org. At this time, I will now open the public hearing for anyone who would like to speak to this ordinance. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. Gentlemen, you have the ordinance in front of you. Is there a motion at this time?
I move to adopt the ordinance.
I second that motion. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the ordinance. Is there any other discussion from board members? Yes, sir.
My only concern is, I know Mr. Crockett has brought it up that it's a valid tool for for collecting personal property taxes. I don't know how if that will hurt us not having having those. I support everything that's that's in it. I just the sticker. I know a lot of people don't like to put the sticker on the vehicle, which is not that big a deal for me. But I don't know. Could I ask Mr. Crockett a question? Sure. Mr. Crockett, can you give your assessment of the implications for collecting taxes?
Well, during that period of time that we sell stickers, I gave you all the numbers a few months ago that over the last 4 years we take in a little over $600,000 worth of delinquent tax during that tax period. During that time, we're selling decals. I know that's also the time a lot of people get their income tax refunds, and that's one time that they pay to get their stickers when they get their refund. All the tax collection is not based on the stickers,
right,
but it's a good time period. But there's a lot of people that only pay personal property tax in this county, and the sticker, I think, is a hammer to help them pay it. That's my only thing. Y'all's idea of doing the DMV stops, personally, I don't like them. I've used them in the past, but, we'll see what happens. But the stickers to me is, I don't know, maybe I'm just used to doing them for 25 years, I don't know. But I just think that they're a good collection tool. And that's my job, to collect taxes for you. So that's why I say that. As far as getting rid of doing them, that's one of the worst jobs we've got in the office, but it brings in tax dollars.
Any other board members? All right, at this time we're ready to vote. I will have a roll call vote starting with Mr. Hall.
Aye. No.
No. No.
Chair votes aye. Motion passes 4-3. Minutes of the previous meeting, November the 27th, 2012. Have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
Second?
That's it.
Been moved and seconded. Does anybody have any addition or corrections to the November 27th meeting? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'm abstaining, I wasn't present.
Record shows 6-0, 1 abstention. Payment of invoices.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to pay the invoice.
I have a motion to pay the invoices. Is there a second?
Mr. Chairman, I'll second.
I have a second. At this time, does anyone have any question concerning any invoice? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Mr. Horning?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye. Motion passes 7-0. We will go to any other old business. Mr. Dalton, you know of?
I do not have any, sir.
All right, we'll move to new business, and we are flying here, ladies and gentlemen. Holiday schedule for December 2012. Mr. Dalton, you want to speak to this?
Yes, sir. You have two items about the holiday schedule and the meeting. We received a notice from the governor's office that the governor has declared state offices to be closed on December the 26th, which means that all offices will be closed December 24th, 25th, and 26th, in accordance with our personnel policy. When the governor or president declares additional holidays, those days the county offices will be closed. We'd just like confirmation from the board of that.
All right, that's in our policy manual now, so no action is needed, just information, right? Other than the governor. We take anything the governor gives us.
We do, but it's always nice that y'all confirm that.
Well, if I can have a motion, we'll confirm.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt this holiday schedule as presented.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we add the 26th, or the actual schedule as presented. All in favor, please say aye. Ayes have it, 7-0. Thank you. We also have the calendar for the 2013 calendar year. Anything that you want to point out to us in particular? I know that Christmas Eve seems to be our meeting in December, which we probably won't have. And I think November, because of VACO, and the elections, we moved that meeting to the 15th. Anything else that's different?
Also, the joint bodies meeting in December, you have your first meeting, I think, of this year is April the 29th. Since it's on December the 30th, it will more than likely be canceled and be brought up at the first joint meeting in April for dispensing that meeting date.
And the June 28th meeting would be the closeout.
Yes, sir.
Do we need to adopt this?
We do.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the calendar for 2013. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion passes 7-0. Supervisor updates. Gentlemen, anybody have anything they'd like to?
Since we won't have a day meeting this month, Christmas Day is our day meeting, we've added that to the agenda for anybody that would like to make any request or provide any information.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just for information, Mr. Dalton, Mr. Barrett, Mr. Hawthorne, and myself went to a wind farm in West Virginia toward the facility, which was something to see. And it surprised me how quiet. I thought it would be a noisy thing, wind farm. But it surprised me that, it really wasn't that much of an eyesore in the noise level. Cars coming back and down on the road made more noise than what the wind field did. So it was a very interesting and informative trip.
Anybody else have any comments? will have a request for some funds from the Witt County Rescue Squad. Mr. Hancock, you want to come forward and explain to us what this is about?
Thank you all. When we had done the budget process for the coming year, I had budgeted off of what we had already been paying for workers' comp. Our previous workers' comp had been based on a 911 crew, a transport crew, and 3 people in the office. Now that we don't have all that staffing, the workers' comp has come down, and the workers' compensation company is requesting 50% of that be paid up front now. I'm not sure how that works or why that works that way. The less it is, the more they request up front. But so that means that of the $24,000, that $12,010.50 is due by December 31st. The SWAT could probably pay that amount out of what we've got right now, but I think we put a hardship on the budget, make it difficult to close out the year. As far as the other bills, everything has been paid, everything's current, nobody's behind or nagging for money. We had payroll this week on Friday, the funds are there for that, we have funds left in the bank. There's $20,942 in the account, so in payroll will be about $8,000 of that, so there'll be about $12,000 left after payroll. But if you all have sent in your request, of course we are allotted $25,000 from you all. You've been so gracious to give us the fuel card. Based on our budget, we've been fairly close to that, actually under. We're going to use about $9,657 of the 25, which leaves $15,333. So the $12,000 would not even take the rest of it on. If you all would consider that, that would help us out greatly and continue to cover our, obviously have to have workers' compensation.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Hancock?
I just have a question for Mr. Dodd. If I know we've talked about it before, but if they come within the county's workman's comp, would it be cheaper, or we could do that?
Actually, we investigated that with our workman's comp carrier. They don't want any part of fire and rescue volunteers on the workman's comp. We have a volunteer workman's comp that we pay annually for these guys. We thought we could get that reduced to help with this. But the way they do workman's comp with fire and rescue, it's not the number of employees, it's the possibility, that's not the right word, but the potential of one of them having a workman's comp claim of a large amount that drives their rate. And we couldn't even get our volunteer, they have very few volunteers, but we couldn't get our, I think it's $12,000 or $14,000 we pay for their volunteers for workman's comp, and about that for fire. We can't even get it reduced because they're paid. So I don't think we have an avenue to help them with that. I wish we did, but our carrier said, don't go there.
We had investigated other companies too, thinking maybe we just don't have the right company, and everybody will talk to us until they realize that we are not just manual service for our driving patients everywhere. When we tell them we are a rescue squad, that we respond to calls, especially on the interstate, and we have the capability to do extrication and those type of special rescue. We're automatically lumped into what they consider a high-risk pool, and it's based off of a state rate. So anybody that does what we do, they automatically just come into what the state sets as the state rate for workers' comp. And on subject rate, which is volunteers, we've actually had 10 volunteer applications in the last month, 5 of which are under 18, so they'll be junior members. They'll be good EMT when they turn 18. So.
Yeah, but JD, just to make clear, you all are not asking for additional money. No, you were just asking for the allotment to be paid, or part of the allotment to be paid now, so that you can cover the half of the workman's comp.
Yes.
I have to say that Witt County Rescue Squad, I think, has done a really good job of looking at their organization and making the necessary changes and necessary staffing decisions and financial decisions, and they've worked with Mr. Grant, and they've worked with Mr. Forrest, and they've done I think a good job, and they're really trying. And JD, I commend you all, for that. And so I have to tell you, I'll support these.
Will you make a motion to do it?
I will make a motion that we do, what is it? $12,050 out of the remaining allotment that is due with county, knowing that is that much of the allotment.
Is there a second? I'll second that. Also, I noticed in this, JD, when I read it, that you actually would like to have this check made out to Armed Guard Insurance Company, just in case there's a little layover. Is that going to be a problem, Mr. Dalton, if we have the check?
As part of the motion, you'll need to authorize us to prepay that bill.
Okay, I would amend the motion to include that.
Second. And that would be that we would write the check to prepay to that, okay?
And we use this, if I may, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Just be clear that you've got a fuel card, but now we're changing your fuel card a lot, but when you get to 25, we're finished, right?
That's fine.
Okay. As long as everybody understands.
Yeah, that's why, I brought that up. I think JD, understands that.
We looked at that and based on our budget between now and the new fiscal year, I don't believe we're going to come close to it, especially at the new rate we get to save.
Long time, June the 30th.
Pretty good.
Okay. Are we ready to vote, gentlemen? We'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Horning? Aye. And aye. Passes 7-0, JD.
Thank you very much. Any questions after? No. Thank you all so much.
Next, we have a report from the Building and Grounds Committee. Given that.
You want to give a report, we discussed surplus property and the new building, we did a tour, and Mr. Dalton can talk about the surplus property and what we decided to do.
With the new building, the health department's moved in. We have, they have cleaned out the building with all their furniture now and cleaned it somewhat of an extent. The Building Grounds Committee would recommend that the board declare that property surplus and solicit written proposals on that property with a minimum proposal that we'll accept stated being $500,000 and give 30 days for those proposals, then the board to be able to review those and make a recommendation.
At this time, does the board need to take any action to
We do need to declare the property surplus.
Okay. Is there a motion to declare, well, actually, the Building and Grounds Committee is recommending this, so that will take that as a motion. It needs no second since it's coming from committee. So the motion is to declare the Health Department building on West Ridge Road surplus. Anybody have any questions?
Is it also to solicit bids for?
I assumed it was, yes.
If it says,
I appreciate you adding that to what it says in the packet, yeah. To solicit proposals to sell. Again, dealing with money, so we'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Hall? Motion passes,
Chairman?
7-0.
If I may?
Yes, sir?
The Building Grounds also discussed numerous other properties that in the next few months they will ask to be declared surplus and be sold, properties around the county that we no longer have any use for, and actually could present a fix to some of the projected budget shortfalls of next year. But they felt strongly that selling those properties out in the county and around in the middle of winter is the wrong time to do it, to wait till the springtime to try to sell those properties.
All right, Second part is a Lead Mine Rescue Squad. Is that going to be, Mr. Grant going to make a proposal, or?
Mr. Grant will sort of update us a little bit. I think he's talked to Lead Mines Captain now, and just give us a brief update of where we're at with those discussions.
Mr. Chairman, after the October 23rd board meeting, met briefly with Mr. Carpenter and Ms. Arnold, gave them my card, asked them to get in contact with me to be able to begin the process of looking at the invoice process and also the billing process. Ms. Arnold provided me with a general ledger, and upon a subsequent call, gave me the general ledger for last year also, which allows me to see the cash, the accounts payable, and each of the detail within their expense statements. Mr. Carpenter did not respond to set up a meeting. I emailed him on the December 5th. I got in phone contact with him on the 6th. He came in on the 7th to sit down and talk with me. I had explained in the email and on the phone that I wanted to look at their procedures and discuss them with him. He showed up with absolutely nothing to look at. Spent an hour with him to kind of go over what our expectations were. We want to be able to see a written procedure on how the billing is done, so that if something were to happen to him or his health or something, somebody could step in and keep the business viable. And I think he understood that. So we're kind of in a waiting mode for that. He said that he would work some on it this weekend. I also asked him if he would provide us with the monthly financials. The task force recommendations had included, and he said that he would get them to me also. I have not seen them for October and November yet.
Mr. Grant, did he mention meeting with Mr. Forrest to develop a business plan?
He did. He said that he had been to visit Mr. Forrest once, and before coming over to see me on Thursday, he was meeting him the second time. It was going to be a 15-minute meeting, and he would be here at 10:30. Friday, he showed up at 1:30 and explained to me that I met with Mike Forrest. It was a lot longer than 15 minutes, and he will be getting back with Mr. Forrest also. So I think there is the beginnings of a process there also.
Well, Mr. Grant, I know the task force has asked you to be in contact with Mr. Carpenter to get this information. Do you feel comfortable enough that that will be forthcoming? Do we need to put it in written form, in letter form, to Mr. Carpenter from the board? What's your recommendation on that?
I would recommend that the board do that. I don't think that I'm not going to get the information, and if you spell it out in the letter, you may get it.
Okay.
Again, I am a little bit befuddled in that process. There's a very interesting contract between them and Guardian. I have gotten no answers with regards to that. Most of the questions that I've asked have gone unanswered.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I may, later on in the week, I may call Mr. Grant to come down and sit down so that we can put out specifics as to what we would like and put it in letter form.
Are you asking this letter to come from the board itself or from your committee?
Actually, I would like for it to come from the committee with the signature of the chairman of the board too. Mr.
I would suggest in that letter that there would be a timetable. I think some of the things that Mr. Grant sent an email to Mr. Carpenter. Mr. Carpenter then called me, and I asked Mr. Grant to call Mr. Carpenter. I think some firm and set schedule
I agree.
needs to be put forth in that letter that you have to accomplish. It seems to me we're just drifting along a little bit.
One of the specific difficulties I have is I'm trying to look at the billing process. I want to see billing reports, what goes in, what comes out. He has said that it's impossible to show me any of that because of HIPAA. And I told him that I don't think that that's the case. You can cross out or whatever, but the general intent of managing the billing process is, and I explained this to him, when he goes on a call, he knows when he went on a call, where he went, when he got there, who he picked up, who he treated, what he treated with, where they dropped him at the hospital. They know from A to Z what they did with that patient. The same process should be used in the billing system. When that patient is billed in the billing system, that should be followed until a resolution comes out in the form of monetary payment. If it's not what that payment should be, there should be a review process by management or the board to go over those for that particular month to determine the cause of it not realizing the revenues.
And he said he felt that it was a HIPAA violation because of names?
Because there'd be names on the report. I said you can cross through names. What I'm interested in is finding out how that process works, made to make sure that you understand it. Because when I asked you the questions on the 23rd, you didn't have the answers to those, and you really should as a captain.
Could I ask, Mr. Farthing, if we received information from them with the names redacted,
If the names are redacted, then there's no violation.
Okay. Okay.
Hey.
Mr. Chairman, with Mr. Grant's help, we've been looking at the financial side, and I realize the importance of that. But the operational side appears to me to be in disarray and needs our attention. We've asked that operational guides and standards be set up, and at least two of the board members present say have questioned the needs for standards and guidelines. And I'd like for us to move forward and us set some timelines for ourselves to take action. We're dragging our feet much too long on this one. Thank you.
Well, what I gather is, requested by Mr. Housen, is that we sit down, your committee, which is Fire and Rescue, sit down, Bruce, and write out the guidelines and so forth, and then you're requesting it, and I'll ask for a motion that the whole board support this, and I would be glad to sign it. But I think that we should have it on record that the board is supporting your committee 100%, and the deadlines that we have set.
Well, I think that it certainly carries more weight coming from the entire board.
Right. And the potential of other actions if it's coming from the other board. We have to do something. So the motion I would like to have is that you give that the full board supports the Fire and Rescue Committee with their deliberations with Mr. Grant as far as dates is concerned, and that the full board supports this 100%, and would allow the chairman to sign this on behalf of the board. If I could have that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
And move to second. Now, is there any discussion concerning that motion?
Well, and actually, there's not anything new that we're asking for. I mean, there's not any new information that would require any other action on our part, I don't think, because everything that we're asking for is we have asked for in open session.
I think we're asking the timeline.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, make sure the timeline was set in there.
And we will.
And get the information.
The Anybody else have any discussion concerning this?
I'd just like to clarify that we're trying to improve the response time and the quality of care. It's not just a financial issue. This is a bigger picture to improve the timeline and the response for the people in the two eastern districts of the county that deserve better service. Thank you.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Thank you. We will now move to Virginia Department of Housing concerning the indoor plumbing rehabilitation program. Ms. Dalton, I just assume we have to vote to accept this. Do you want this?
Actually, the way I understand this is every year we approve someone currently in Southeast Rural Community Action Program that does our IPR. What the ECD is saying here is they're going to change that. Instead of all the counties and cities doing it, they're going to solicit providers on a regional basis. Their region starts here in Witt County, as you can see with the map, and goes all the way to Lee County. It includes Carroll, Bland, that they will solicit those proposals and select an indoor plumbing contract. And I've expressed my concern to Bill Shelton about it, that if that contractor turns out to be from far southwest Virginia, then the likelihood of doing indoor plumbing projects here in Witt County are sort of like VDOT's office in Bristol. We don't get much paving here, but I went to Bristol this weekend and plenty of paving going on down here. So I guess our concern, or my concern, is that if you go to one contractor, that somehow we need to ensure that we get people's houses, indoor plumbing replaced as they make applications instead of being shut out of the process.
Are you recommending that we send them a letter stating our concerns?
Yes, sir, and as a matter of fact, I would go further than that. I would suggest that we endorse our current indoor plumbing contractor to be one of the sub-recipients under their contract, because they do Carroll, Bland, Witt, and Smith currently.
Gentlemen, I have a motion concerning this, that we contact the Housing and Community Development, tell them our concerns, and also ask in that letter that we go on record in support of our present contractor.
I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
Second.
Yes, in second. Any discussion?
As Mr. Thomas, we go along with community development on the lower end. Was it Raystown?
Slabtown.
Slabtown. Does this impact them?
It does.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the next project we have, which hopefully wrapping up the PER, which will be down in the Barron Springs, Aldershot, Vineland area, and some of those people down there that qualify for indoor plumbing might even affect that program there.
Any other discussion? I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. The Crooked Road National Heritage Area. Dalton, letter was addressed to you over some questions that the board had. This is just for information, I assume, at this time?
It is that we had a couple questions that they've responded to these questions in a little different manner than I thought. Our request was whether the National Park Service, or at any point in time, would or could implement additional restrictions and requirements on funding of federal projects. And basically what it says today is that they don't know of any. But if you do your research, it really says in the National Park Service, once these are implemented, if they so desire, they can implement any kind of regulations they so like. But they're not asking, this is just a reporter trying to answer the questions we asked when they made their presentation. So no action is required.
Mr. Chairman, this keeps coming back to us. Do we have any idea when they will ask for a letter? Because they will ask for a letter of support, will they not?
I assume they plan to ask all the counties in that region, yes.
But we don't have any timeline on that, do we?
I'm not aware, Dalton, you're not aware of any timeline?
I think the timeline that was presented when they were here and made the presentation is early next year, that they will be asking for the letter of support. My understanding of the National Heritage areas, that the only areas that can be included are those locations that endorse the heritage area. So if there's not a letter forthcoming, you won't be included. The issue is, once the legislation gets drafted, what kind of pressure will be put to bear on you to write that letter?
I'm sure there are good examples. Mr. Strucker here talking about what the Farm Bureau is going to do, that legislation. We haven't seen it, how it's going to be addressed yet. So it may be completely rewritten to a certain extent. All right, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. I have a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve this consent calendar.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Anyone have any discussion on any item in the consent calendar? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor of passing the consent calendar, please say aye. Aye. Consent calendar is passed. All right, other, Mr. Bear, you handed me some citizens who want to change the name of a road.
Actually, this is citizens are building a new house that's going on a road, and with our ordinance, it becomes the third house off of that road, and by our ordinance, that road has to be named at that time. So the proposal here is to name this private road Prim Lane.
Is there a motion? They have the three houses, I assume.
This 212 Prim Lane that you see on the map there is the new house that has been built. That will make the third house on that road.
Right, I see it now. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
All right, it's been moved. Do I have a second? And seconded. The name change or addition. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mr. Stone, I have a question for you. Will there be any bills that the board needs to give you all permission to prepay since we will not be meeting?
We already have permission to prepay utility bills. I do not
See anything else?
know of anything. Steve was pointing
The
out.
building next door,
We actually don't pay for it.
I don't know.
Well, let me solve it this way, if it's all right. If Mr. Dalton finds any bill like this, I would like for him to contact the chair, and the chair would go, okay, it with y'all's blessing, and we can do it, and whatever would come up. That's a lot of power to give him, and he will run off.
Any normal bills, utility bills, ongoing bills that we have, we'll pay. And any bills that are contractor required. We've got 6 or 7 contractors under water line contractors too. So I've explained most of them that they will be paid on, I think it's January the 11th. But
Well, if you have any question, I think I got concurrence from the board, we could do it that way. So that would do it, be fine with it. Okay, thank you. Gentlemen, is there anything else coming before the board tonight?
I do have an
Oh,
item
yeah.
laid on your desk from the sheriff's office,
Thank you.
live scan machine.
Gone down, right?
Live scan has died. If they no longer service it, and the sheriff has, the replacement is $6,900, and that would be paid from the jail processing fees we charge each and every person that is booked a fee. And this processing fee is to pay for these kind of things. It just needs to be amended and appropriated for the sheriff's budget.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we amend and appropriate $6,900 to be transferred from the line 099, and I don't know what it doesn't say what it's going into.
It'll be going in the sheriff's 3102 budget.
3102 budget.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and second, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll take a roll call vote. Mr. Hall?
Uh,
And aye. Any other business? Yes, sir.
Are we going to meet in the morning, the budget committee?
Now, since everybody can.
At 8 o'clock.
Okay, that's all the other problems. Okay. Well, folks, y'all have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.